Limbus Company is one of the best gacha games on the market. Period. You all know this, I know this, it's the reason why other games just don't feel the same. It's more interested in being an accessible, story-focused experience rather than a dealer selling you naked anime women in an alleyway. So why is it so hard to keep playing? If the game is so good, wouldn't you want to play it until your fingers fall off? I recently asked myself this question when doing a weekly mirror dungeon run for the 50th time, as I absentmindedly kept clicking P-enter and watching a random video essay on my phone. And I was thinking, am I even having fun? Hi, this is Weno, and I'm answering questions nobody asked. And yes, I'm back this time, I think. Anyway, recently I've noticed a lack of content on YouTube about Limbus. Many of the familiar faces are largely inactive or have transitioned into low-effort content. There's nothing wrong with that, people have their own circumstances and having something on the channel is better than nothing. And new ID releases and new Reflect trial stuff, that always jolts the community back up for a short while, but I can't help but think that this overall feeling of burnout is more prevalent than ever, and it's getting worse and worse with each passing kanto. Of course, this is not a feeling everyone shares. Newer players will still have plenty of things to play with, plenty of story content to go through, and not everyone is as invested in the game as some others are. I'm just speaking from the perspective of a day one player who stuck with this game through thick and thin for 3.5 years. And hasn't stopped playing the same old mirror dungeons. So why is this Limbus fatigue even a thing? Anyone can get burnt out when doing something for a long while. If you play a game for too long, you may get sick of it, and that's okay. You just take a break and come back to it when you feel like it. Why is Limbus any different? Well, in some ways, it's not any different. Limbus Company is a live service. Live service games are designed in a way to keep people playing as long as possible. This is mainly done through progression systems that are so stretched out you would rather pay to skip the majority of the grind, as well as addictive gameplay loops, attractive character designs, and so on. And Limbus definitely has a lot of that, minus the constant begging to buy overpriced currency. All of that is very common for this long-term business model, but I wouldn't be talking about Burnout if it was that simple. See, as I said in the beginning, Limbus is a very good game. Outstanding story and involved gameplay are already major boons to player retention, not to mention the abnormally generous gacha system, which ensures the player base will stay committed not only to the game, but to the company at large. That's why there's a certain interesting problem Limbus has. People really want to play it. Wait, isn't that a good thing? Well, let me explain. Mobile games are made predominantly for a casual audience. You hop in, press a couple of buttons, get your dailies out of the way, maybe pull the slot machine once or twice and quit for the day. All of it takes from 2 to 30 minutes, depending on the game. Log in, get rewards, log out. Simple as. However, there's usually content for which you may want to stay longer, be it side stories, challenge modes, PvP, or anything in between. This content allows a player to engage with the game on a deeper level, mainly through understanding and application of game mechanics. There's always a choice to play more of the game, unless you're playing something with an outdated strict stamina system that doesn't allow you to play anymore when it runs out, to which I say, fuck that, I play however much I want and you're not my mom to say otherwise. Essentially, other games allow you to play more of it while deepening your understanding of mechanics and rewarding you appropriately. The game wants you to play it. It wants you to engage with its systems, to understand it on a deeper level. And it usually doesn't force you to do it. You can still approach it in a casual manner. It's your choice what kind of content you want to engage with. Of course, there has to be content to begin with, which shouldn't be a problem after 3.5 years of development. Right? Right? Come on, Kimchi-kun? Please? Alright, enough being around the bush. Limbus Company has a loyal fanbase that really wants to play the game, and the game can barely keep up. No, it fails to keep up. There's barely anything to do, and what we can play is either a one-and-done sort of deal, or is genuinely mind-numbing. The core gameplay loop, as it is only used in content that you do only one time, and that's it. Those being story, Refraction Railway, and Reflect Trial. They are not bad, they're actually pretty good, but an average player does them only one time to either read through the story or get the rewards, and then they're barely touched ever again. Also, the fact that previous Railways and Reflect Trials get removed doesn't help the content drought. Either way, the only game mode that has any substantial degree of replayability is Mirror Dungeon, and we've been playing Mirror Dungeons for as long as Limbus has existed. It's a pretty good game mode, where you assemble your team and empower them through a selection of overpowered ego gifts, get through all sorts of battles and see a number go up. It may even get challenging when approaching the extreme floors. It's good, and it's the only thing we have in terms of repeatable content. Excavations don't count. Mirror dungeons are fun to complete because runs feel unique and you can bring anything that you want and it will work with enough planning and game knowledge. They're fun until you've completed them for 1,000th time and your PK is looking pretty worn out. And at that point, what is there to play? When you've done your railways and reflect trials, there's nothing to do, no more game to play. You're left with nothing but mirror dungeons until the next content drop happens. I know that, ultimately, fun is what you make it. You can always go back to Wei Hang and beat his ass in an infinite number of ways, sure, that's what every PM tuber does when an ID gets released, but genuinely, what's the point? There's no extrinsic push from the game itself to do these things. You're not getting anything from running solo-based Ryoshu against Rian for 30 times straight. You can do it, maybe it will be fun. Personally, I find it boring. There's nothing beyond mirror dungeons and maybe lowering turn counts for bragging rights. I genuinely want a reason to play this game, to engage with its mechanics, to overcome unique challenges, but that only happens once every 2 months or so, and that's just not sustainable. There really should be something in Limbus Company that you'd want to regularly come back to. Something that tests your skill, is fresh, and gives you a reason to log in every so often. Children are yearning for a new game mode. It's simply been too long. There are of course other reasons why one may experience burnout. Season 6 was a source of many frustrations for the player base. We all know how Rupture has changed and the Heisho swap meta was established, but there were also questionable balancing decisions, issues with content releases like the Cut Intervallo, the Arknights collab and how much of a FOMO element it had been. It wouldn't be surprising to see players rather dissatisfied with Season 6. Many could have even lost hope in the developers after a series of perceived blunders and mismanagement. Personally, I don't view that time very pleasantly. The burnout can also be attributed to long development cycles in between cantos. It gets pretty tiresome, waiting for new developments in the main story, when the amount of time spent waiting is around 9 months or so. And that amount doesn't go down. Like, for crying out loud, a person could be bored in that time frame. When there's barely anything to do in the game during that wait, I sometimes can't even be bothered to do my weekly MDs. It feels as if the game doesn't want you to stay for too long. And maybe that's for the best. I remember Kim Ji-hoon once said that it's okay to take breaks from Limbus and then come back when new story content gets released. I don't remember when he said that, it was during one of the live streams. Whether you take it as an excuse or as a piece of advice is up to you. For now, however, we await the release of Counter 10, which is surely going to be peak. Thank you for watching. I don't think this was a very structured video, more so an outlet for me to speak about my burnout with the game, but I think I'm back. Take it as me coming back with milk and bread and whatnot. I plan to make more positive content next, so stay tuned for that. Also, subscribe, it helps the channel. Anyway, yeah, see you all in the next one. Bye bye.